Welcome to the HR Chat podcast, bringing the best of the HR and talent communities to you.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. I'm your host, Bill Banham, and today I am joined by the wonderful Kevin Grossman, Talent Board and Candy's president, podcaster, and speaker. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Pleasure to be here.
Let's jump straight in. For those folk out there who maybe haven't heard of you before, can you give a bit of a brief overview of your career background?
Well, I like to always joke that I've played HR and recruiting on TV for over 18 years, which means that I've been in the HR recruiting technology space for over 18 years, primarily on the solution provider side. Been a long time marketer, product marketer, thought leader. You throw the buzzword in of choice, but I've really been passionate about everything in the HR and recruiting space, and especially in the past 2 years running the Talent Board, which is the only nonprofit research organization all about elevating and promoting a quality candidate experience and shining a light on what's working and what's on recruitment. So I run that as well as you mentioned, a joint podcast, Bill, that you and I do together called Working Tech, which we're also very excited about, and just an all-around busy guy and a very happy family guy and daddy of 2 young girls as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to testify that Kevin is an awesome human being and a great colleague. I had the privilege of working with you, Kevin, at Talent Culture a few years ago before you and I started doing the Working Tech show, and long may it continue. So you're the president of the Talent Board. What does that role entail?
I have a board that I report to, and there are 4 individuals on our board, three of whom were co-founders of the Talent Board of this nonprofit organization. And I run the global survey research programs that we run. So every year now, not only in North America, which primarily focuses on the US and Canada, as well as multiple countries in EMEA and multiple in Asia Pac as well, where we ask employers to complete a survey of about 65 questions about what they're doing in recruitment from pre-application to onboarding, and then also how they assess their own candidate experience. And then in turn, they can target a population of their candidates, most of whom are those who were rejected candidates. And it can be a mix of external and internal as well. And they survey them, and there's a similar number of questions. And then every year we release research that's based on that data, as well as we give awards away, hence the name Candidate Experience Awards, to those companies, big and small, that have the highest candidate ratings through the survey research. And I'll add a quick note. The ratings are similar. They're based on Likert scale questions, 1 to 5, with 1 being the lowest score, 5 being the highest score. It also is based on more of our behavioral-based NPS questions, where we're asking them not on the consumer scale, which is the 11-point scale, but on a 4-point scale, and asking them how likely are they to apply again for the job at this company, how likely are they to refer at this company, what's their overall rating of that experience, regardless of how far they got in the process, as well as much more granular questions that we ask. And then also a big one that we base a lot of the potential impact on the business itself is how likely are they to change their relationship with the employer based on their experience. And that could mean either applying again, referring others, and buying stuff if it's a consumer-based business, or not. And that's the negative impact that potentially can affect immediate revenue for companies, as well as referral networks. That's what we do.
Tell me a bit about the member base. Is it a big mixture of HR pros, candidates, talent pros, execs? Give me a bit of an overview of that.
The primary audience that consumes our research as well as participates in the survey research are primarily the HR and talent acquisition leaders and their teams. So that could be, the director level, VP, SVP, and as well as the teams that work with them. So the managers, the recruiting managers, the recruiting coordinators, the recruiters themselves, the HR pros themselves, it just depends on the structure of the company and the size of the company. But that's the makeup of most of the audience on the survey research side. But we have lots of great sponsors, a lot of the vendors in the space, the solution providers, and as well as service providers like RPOs, et cetera, that support the program. And then there's a lot of influencers, analysts that are some either volunteer or somewhat associated with our program. But the bulk of the audience are those TA and HR leaders and their teams. Let me answer one thing for you, because you referenced candidates. Candidates are a big part of our audience because we survey them. But one of the things that I want to be clear about is that for both employers as well as the candidates, it is a confidential process for them. So the only employers we shout from the rooftops about are those that win our Candy Awards, as we like to call them. The candidates are always anonymous in our research, because we don't even capture any contact information. So that way they feel comfortable to speak freely, kind of like the Glassdoor approach.
Which is the absolute correct approach, in my opinion. Now, one of the biggest things that happens with the talent boards each year is the Candidate Experience Awards in North America. Now, a little bird told me that that's actually coming up in October. Can you tell me a bit about the awards, what they are, why they matter, and who should attend?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But one of the things that I like to emphasize now more than ever, and I think that it's a little bit different than how we even started, is that first and foremost, we're a research organization, and we've been growing and maturing as a research organization, and really focusing on shining a light on what's working and what's not in recruitment and candidate experience. But part of the nice leadership in the space that we help drive as well is that we like to honor and give kudos to those companies that are trying to make a difference. I mean, everybody knows what it's like to be a job seeker. It stinks most of the time. It really does. Around the world, any age, any generation, it's not very fun. But there are employers today that are trying to really improve that overall experience of what it's like before I even apply, and all the way if I actually even make it to the offer stage, and doing a lot of work. And that's what we like to celebrate at the Candy. So this event, which is in Nashville on October 2nd, it's the day before Talent Connect starts, which is the LinkedIn event. We have a symposium, a lot of great speakers. Shannon Miller, who's an American gymnast, is going to be our keynote. We also have Carmen Hudson, who's our MC, a longtime recruiting industry luminary. Jerry Crispin, who's one of the co-founders of Talent Board and one of my board members. He's going to run a panel on transformative recruiting in HR. We got a series of practitioners that are going to be speaking, and we're really excited about that and sharing what they're doing. All of our events, this one and any workshops that we do and webinars, are all about shining a light on what's the transformative work that companies are doing. And it's not always, rocket science or brain surgery. They're incremental improvements that companies are investing in that make a difference in the long run, for all job seekers, external and internal. So that's what we celebrate at the event, and we're really excited. And that evening, during the day, we've got lots of great content and speakers, and then at night we have our awards gala, and that's when we hand out physical awards to those companies in North America that have won the Candies, and we're really, really excited about that. We also do similar events in EMEA and APAC as well, which will happen early 2018. But this is our big North American one, and we really encourage anybody who wants to learn more about improving recruiting and candidate experience, whether they're in the Nashville market or the Tennessee market, or from anywhere for that matter, and whether they've ever participated in our research, to come get a taste, gain some insight, and maybe participate next year in the 2018 program.
So I had the pleasure of being your guest at the awards in London earlier this year, and I can testify to the high quality of folk there, and it's a great experience. So if you're in the Nashville area around October 2nd, then definitely see if you can go along. Let's now move away from that particular role. And another role that you have these days is on a pretty cool upcoming podcast with some guy from Australia or somewhere, I think, called Working Tech. Tell me a bit about the show.
So it's a show, Bill, that you and I kind of put together. The idea is that there's a lot of good voices in our space, analysts, influencers alike, that do a lot of really cool things, talking to startups and established technology companies in the HR and recruiting technology space. But I thought it would be fun to try to get our own fresh take at it, and kind of a tongue in cheek about, it's better to have working tech than be hardly working and all that good stuff. So we launched the show a few months ago now, and I think we're on our 20th, and the 21st show is going to go live soon. That continues to grow. And they're just great. They're great conversations with startups, more established companies, influencers, thought leaders. It's about HR, recruiting, and related technologies, just the greater world of work, on what's going on today, and again how we're just better improving overall, keeping ourselves working better, faster, bigger, all that good stuff in between. So they're fun. It's an interview format podcast. It is not a live show. It's a pre-record and edit, and I think it's a pretty nice little show, and you and I both are really proud of it, and we will continue to put those out as well.
The URL there, listeners, is workingtech.co. It's you can also find selected Working Tech episodes on the HR chat feed, which goes through to the iTunes and other places.
Exactly.
We are really enjoying it so far, and we think we've got some pretty good interviews out there up to this point.
Well, there's that, and also there's some related events. I know there's Innovate Toronto and other events that you've got cooking, right, Bill? That I'm hoping to be a part of too. Innovate San Francisco. Really, again, just kind of another iteration on the same theme of our show, right? But doing it live, and in Toronto and Chicago, San Francisco, who knows what other markets. Panel discussions, speakers. So that's something else that's kind of an extension of what we've started with Working Tech, and to a certain degree. So that's kind of exciting, right?
Yeah, listeners, we've been doing a few different things here and there over the last few months, and they all, at the moment, seem to be coming together. And we've got this nice situation now where the Working Tech show and the HR Chat show is naturally connecting with the new InnovateWork event series that we've been doing here in Toronto, and we're looking to do with Kevin down in San Francisco in the very near future. So yeah, these things are pretty exciting.
Yeah, and one URL I want to throw out there, just because we, for those that are like, wow, how do I find out about Talent Board really quick, is you go to thetalentboard.org, and then you can find our event site from there too. Want to make sure everybody's got all the URLs. But yeah, I mean, look for an Innovate event in your market, or at least the three we referenced. And then, of course, check out our podcast and keep listening. It's always going to have a nice but relevant, eclectic mix of guests. And we'll continue to really focus solely on the businesses and the progressive technology players, big and small, but also mix in other folks as well. In fact, I've got some analyst shows coming up, Bill, and it's that continues to be a fun labor of love.
I have a few shows coming up. This won't surprise you, I'm sure, with HR tech companies in the performance and talent space. So listeners, I hope you enjoy those too. We're about to wrap up, Kevin. Before we do, you mentioned the contact details there for the Talent Board. How can people, however, connect with you? What's your Twitter handle? Throw out your email address if you'd like. How can they connect?
So I think, on Twitter, you can just find me at Kevin W. Grossman. Again, Kevin W. Grossman for Twitter. Connect with me on LinkedIn. That's another great place. Just find me on LinkedIn and connect with me. I'd love to do that. And then if there's any ever interest in contacting me at Talent Board, it's kevin.grossman@thetalentboard.org, and would love to talk to you about candidate experience, recruitment, and then again, don't forget to go to workingtech.co for our Working Tech site, and then the podcast feed is there, and as well as you can get it in the other usual podcast locations. But check it out, and there you go.
Okay, well, that just leaves me to say, Kevin W. Grossman, my friend, thank you for being the guest today.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
And listeners, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the HR Chat podcast, brought to you by the HR Gazette.